Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Today we're going to be continuing this series that I'm calling What is Awakening? And the last time that I spoke, we talked about what awakening is not. And now that we've kind of established what it isn't, I'd like to start to talk about what it actually is. And so I've titled this particular entry, Why Do We Suffer? And I did that because I think that that is the central question and the root of what awakening is and what it can do for our lives. And when I'm talking about suffering, I don't mean pain. And let me kind of unpack that a little bit. So, the world that we live in is painful. Painful things happen. People suffer, animals suffer. We all experience pain, whether physical, emotional, mental. These things happen. And so, that is not the suffering that I'm talking about because that experience will happen. That is what it is to be a conscious being. So the suffering that I'm talking about is the kind of reflective thought patterns that happen within our mind that recall that pain, that relive that pain, that fantasize about that pain, that tell us we could avoid that pain if we had done things differently, or maybe we can avoid that pain in the future if we plan for it. That's the suffering that I'm talking about. I'm also talking about the mechanism that says, I am the one that is experiencing that pain. I am the one that happened to. I am the one that suffered before, and if I don't change things, I am going to suffer again. And so, why do we suffer? Why do we have this kind of reflective thought that keeps us trapped in this idea that there's a past where I was suffering and there's a future where I might suffer? And so I need to do everything that I can to avoid it. But yet, I want to keep reliving it. And I think that the reason that this happens is because that's what it means to be conscious. Um, we have these evolutionary tendencies for our mind to do these things because we are driven to want to experience reward, pleasure, and to avoid pain. These are, the mechanisms of life, the mechanisms of evolution. And so I want to be clear that, we're not trying to stop these things. We're not trying to even fight against them or um, eliminate them. And we're not trying to say that they're bad. We're not trying to feel guilty about the fact that we are ruminating in our heads. Um, None of that is helpful. None of that. That's just more suffering, honestly. What we're doing is we are starting to take one small step and recognize that it's happening. And that's really it, is this step, this movement that recognizes that this process is occurring and that you can observe it. You can see it happening in your head. And that is the first part of what it means to undergo awakening, is to recognize that your thought processes are the things that are occurring and that they are causing suffering.
Now, some of you may be thinking, well, that's great, but that is not the suffering that I deal with. I don't have this ruminating thoughts about the past and the future and all of these things. My mental health is shit because I work my job, 2 side hustles, and I still don't make enough money. Everything is stressful. The world sucks. We're destroying the planet. Oh yeah, there's always the possibility of a nuclear war and a holocaust. And you don't have to necessarily believe me yet, but just entertain the idea that those are all made of the same stuff as what I was talking about earlier. They all are thoughts, and that thinking is, again, the thing that is causing the suffering. And so, in our next session, we're going to talk about what can we do to start to separate this observing of the thoughts and the thoughts themselves, and how that begins to help us. All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you.